What's good, everybody? Pete here, Spawn Fly Fish. It is salmon time. We've only been waiting a year, and it's finally here. Grab your vise, grab your tools. Let's get ready for some coho. All right, in the vise today, SA254, size 2 from, of course, Ahrex hooks. We do have a Spawn football bead, 7.5 millimeter in fluorescent hot pink, and then 10 wraps roughly of some 0.025 lead-free wire. So thread today, 6/0 uni, by all means Veevus and 140, Semperfli, 6/0, any of that would be great. Trim off that tag. So coho starting to come into the Columbia. People are catching a bunch of salmon, and of course that gets us excited and thinking forward to wintertime into fall when these coho are cruising into the smaller tributaries. So, a lot of you know the bunny leech. Let's play with the bunny leech, maybe add a couple steps. So for the tail, we've got some hot pink in Magnum. That's key because we want this tail, once it's saturated, to give us a lot of movement and all that good stuff. So tie that down, and of course keep in mind this is a jig oriented fly, and so it will be sitting this way, so we want that fur up here, and that means when it's upside down we want to be looking at leather. Tie that down very well. There we go. So at this point, if you want to add flash, this is where you add flash. We're going to put a lot of color and movement into this fly. We don't need flash. But again, if that's your thing, by all means, add some flash. All right, so now we're going to stick with that rabbit and go to some crosscut. See how it comes off the side of that leather? Crosscut fluorescent blue. And if you look right here at that tip, I have trimmed out the fur on roughly 1/8 of an inch. And that's my clean tie-in. And when I tie this crosscut in, I want to be looking at the leather, which means it is facing up and away from the shank. The fur side is toward the shank. Really securely tie this in. But we're going for a 3-tone body here. So what I want to do is leave my thread roughly in the middle. That reminds me where to stop with this blue, because we'll be pulling some shenanigans here. So I'm going to move that thread out of the way. Just kind of remember where that halfway mark looks and try to wrap up to it. And if it's maybe a wrap shy of that, that's all right, because like I said, we're going to be throwing some material in here. So bring my thread back, and we do have water on the desk. So let's get a little bit of moisture on these rabbit fur fibers. And now when I pull it over, see that's clean separation, or V? That's where I want my thread to go, right in that. Keep doing that every time, and you'll never have issues with trapping extra hair, any of that. Carefully trim out. Now at this point, we want to tie down all that excess leather from our cutoff, and like so. So we're gonna have 3 colors of rabbit, but we're also going to give some extra movement here. So I'm going to a little bit of marabou in medium UV pink from Fish Hunter, and I've peeled off one side. So if you're looking at the convex side, it would be the left side has been removed, and I would tie this in convex facing me or facing upward away from the shank. I don't want full coverage. I don't want to obliterate that rabbit that we just wrapped, but I do want to highlight or accent so that there's a connectivity in this fly. So we went from pink to blue, but now we're going to kind of make the connection back to that pink with a little pink feather. So a wrap or two is all we need, even with just one side of the quill. And you can see here, it's just a little bit of an accent, and that is exactly what we're going for. Let me bring that thread back once again. So this would be about the coverage I'm looking for, maybe even one more here. We're going sparse, so I think we'll be okay. There we go. I like that coverage. So again, peel these fibers up that I don't want included, make that clean V on the quill just like we did with the leather of the rabbit, and that's where my thread's going to come in for the tie down. Now you can see those fibers are trying to get into the way. We're not going to let that happen. Cut out that quill. A little bit of moisture on the fingers again, and we'll just brush back all that marabou. So you kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like in the water too. Nice broken up pattern, nothing real solid. I'm a big fan. All right. Oop, there's busted thread. Got a little carried away on tying that part down. No worries. Even though it's not spilled milk, still not worth crying over. So let's get that thread restarted. One thing I am using the Steel Tech bobbin from Stomfo. If you have that tied down just a little too tight in that bobbin or the bobbin holder, you might break some thread. So and get this restarted. Trim out the tag ends of those threads. Ba-dum and ba-dum. And then before I break that thread again, let me loosen it just a touch. All right, back in biz. And now let's progress. Here's our third color of rabbit. Going for, you guessed it, purple. Again with the clean tie-in on the fur side, and I want that leather looking up at me for tying it in. So you can see there's not a ton of room here. We're not going to get the same number of wraps as we did with the blue, and that's okay because the purple is so strong and very dominant, and so it would kind of block out a lot of that blue that we have if we matched up the exact number of wraps. So keep that in mind. Darker is going to be a little stronger as far as its visual presence. And there we go. So we've got that nice progression going here. So this wrap, again, get a little moisture on that rabbit. It will help you find a clean spot for a tie off. And I will show you exactly what I mean. Right there where the fibers separate and go, that's my clean tie off. Right there, boom. I won't have issues of too much leather now, crowding the front, or any of that. So clean cut here, like so. And this little nub of leather that is left, oh my goodness, that's not an issue. Just get in there, tie that sucker right down, and that's what we're left with. A clean tie-in for, guess what, our last element. So we had pink to blue and then reminded the pink that it was there. So now we go in blue to purple. We want to remind the blue that it's there. And how do we do that? We've got some silver dock blue fish hunter marabou. And same deal, one side trimmed off or peeled off because we don't need full coverage. We want to still be able to see that underbody, which is in this case our rabbit. Nothing to it. And get that thread out of the way. So we're going for that 1.5, 2 wraps again, like we did with the pink marabou. And it's going to be it right there. Just going to kind of get a little moisture on again, brush those fibers back, and they will stay in place out of your way for the most part. There we go. So you don't have to tie something crazy to catch coho. Sometimes it's fun to tie the crazy flies. Sometimes it's just about, hey, gotta go, need a couple bugs. This is one of those that just gets it done. And yes, the coloration in this is a lot to do with that, but it's also utilizing the movement of these materials. So when you've got materials together that move very well on their own, well, you're just increasing that movement factor by quite a bit. All right, one whip finish. Let's do one more and really make sure this thing's ready for battle. So keep in mind, a bunch of those fish coming in, and that fall weather's not too far away. So when it starts getting nasty, cooling off, rain starts coming, all that good stuff, that's when we really get excited for this fishery. So got some Loon hardhead clear. We're just going to coat all those thread wraps and make sure this fly is ready for some work. And nothing crazy, just going to get all those thread wraps covered, and make sure if you've put some effort into tying a really good fly, don't forget that last step, which is cement. It is a big help in not having a fly fall apart within just 1 or 2 fish. Keep that in mind. I'm not saying it's a law, but you should do it. All right, there we have it. At this point, call that good. Got a little comb here, and we will simply get some uniformity to how those marabou fibers are coming off so that you can get a better look at this thing. And there you have it. So this is all going to have a lot of breathing, a lot of flowing, a lot of movement that just entices and hypnotizes these salmon. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe, leave any comments below, and we'll see you guys on the water.